What happens when AI learns from us and mirrors back our biases? If you're using AI in education, understanding how bias shows up in these tools is critical. First, let's be clear about what we mean by bias. Systematic, repeatable patterns that cause unfair or discriminatory outcomes against certain groups. These systems aren't built to be biased on purpose. But since they're designed to learn from us, from our data, our choices, our world, they inevitably pick up the biases and inequalities already present in society. And bias doesn't just come from the training data itself, it can creep in at many stages. How that data gets labeled, which algorithms are chosen, even the context where the model gets deployed. This problem is complicated even further by the fact that most companies won't even tell us what data their models are trained on. So, how does bias actually show up? Try this thought experiment. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine, what does a family having dinner look like? What does a successful person wear to work? What does a teacher look like? Now, let me show you an example. I asked AI to generate images of a family having dinner. What did I get? Families gathered around large dinner tables, surrounded by abundant food, often with a mom, dad, and kids in a traditional setup. But that's just one version of a family dinner that exists in reality. Plenty of families eat in the kitchen, on the couch, or around a small table. Not everyone has that much food at dinner, and families often come in all different configurations. Single parents, grandparents raising kids, same-sex parents, multi-generational households. The AI chose one narrow image and presented it as universal. Another aspect of bias in AI to keep in mind is something called sycophancy. Chatbots are increasingly trained to agree with users rather than provide objective responses. When people ask AI to evaluate their ideas, they're often looking for confirmation. Over time, the model learns to reinforce whatever the user says, even if it's biased, harmful, or just plain wrong. The bottom line, AI doesn't just reflect reality, it amplifies existing biases and reinforces inequity. Before you use AI tools in your classroom, ask yourself, who's represented in this data? Whose perspectives are missing? And how might this impact my students? Those questions matter because the answers affect real people in real ways.